Chapter 5, Analyzing Your Users. What do we mean by analyzing users? It means information elicitation. It means gathering information about the users, their tasks, their environment, what kind of activities or use cases they perform daily. تاني انه احنا نحاول نعمل ستدي او تحليل لليوزر بحيث نقدر نفهم ايش طبيعه التاسك اللي بيقوم فيها، ايش طبيعه الانفايرمنت اللي بيقوم فيها، ايش الكونسترينز على هاي التاسكس حتى نقدر ايش to include them in our document. In user analysis we use interviews, questionnaires and surveys, and we might get in touch with like the real users who are going to use a software. So the best analysis we get when we analyze the users in their environment. What kind of benefits we get from the user analysis? It helps us to find out how the software will fit into the user workspace. mainly بنحاول نقدر نفهم ايش طبيعه التاسك اللي بيقوم بهم اليوزرز اللي رايحين نقدر نعملهم include بالdocument. Also it helps us to set the goals of document. The more we understand the workplace, the more we can help the users and to understand the software, and the more we can make our document more close to the user's task and more close to the user needs. Analysis consists of inquiry into specific things. When we do analysis, we try to find information about several stuff. First, what kind of tasks the user will perform. ايش طبيعة التاسك اللي اليوزر بيقوم فيهم in their daily life وايش اليوزر scenarios for these things. Second thing, information needs. What kind of information they need in order to perform their task or in order to be able to perform that. Work motivation. What motivates them to be professional in their work or to perform their job. Computer experience. What kind of experience do they have? Do they have any knowledge of the computer itself? And or are they beginner, advanced, or expert users? Knowledge of the program. That means knowledge of the software that we are trying to make the document for. Do they have any kind of knowledge with this software? User community. What kind of community they have? Do they depend on their team members or their committee members to perform their jobs? Learning preferences. What kind of methods or way they prefer to learn the software? And the last thing is usage pattern. Do they use software regularly, casually, or intermittent? In order to be able to answer these questions, we have to understand them. The next slides will answer these 8 things in detail. Guidelines. Those guidelines present the guidelines that we need to follow in order to conduct a user analysis. That means a good user analysis consists of set of steps. First step, choose users carefully. What do we mean by choosing users carefully? First, we put all or list all the possible user groups. Then after that, we have to find out which user would most probably use the program. And for example, if we have a network program, who are the possible users? We can have an admin, network manager, user. Okay, all these are possible groups of users. After we have the list of users, we need to conduct series of interviews with them to build a list of common jobs, tasks that would benefit from the documentation. باختصار بنحاول نلاقي مجموعة اليوزرز اللي ممكن يستخدموا هذا البروجرام. ففور اكزامبل لو كان عندنا نتورك مانجر بروجرام او نتورك بروجرام، هذا النتورك بروجرام مين البوسيبل يوزرز؟ ممكن يكون الادمن، الريال يوزر، نتورك مانجر. we will have different groups. Now بعد ما عرفنا a list of users بنحاول نعمل انترفيوز معهم حتى نتأكد ايش طبيعة التاسك اللي بتهم كل جروب that we need to include in our document. The second thing اللي هو anticipate transfer of learning. Research shows that skills learned in the workplace can transfer to skill using software. الريسيرشر بيحكوا انه اي skill you use it او you learn it from the software you can transfer it بحيث تستخدمها بالenvironment تبعتك. The more you understand these skills in your user, the better you transfer this valuable learning to the use of your software. It's also important to build a repository of knowledge about user, which includes all of the small facts, attitudes, artifacts, interaction, and values that guide them in their job duties. For example, حتى نقدر نعمل study how they transfer learning أو how they السكيلز اللي بتعلموهم بالورك بليس can they connect them with the software features. We have to study them and make knowledge about them. Guideline number 3, mock-up when hard to conduct real users. What do you mean by mock-up? Means find a proxy user, find a replacement for your user. The best thing when we do analysis is to make interviews or observation with the real users. But if we cannot have a real user, sometimes we don't have the actual user. In such cases, we mock up user. We try to find a replacement. We try to find a proxy. How we can find a proxy? There are many resources for learning about job duties of individuals in a particular position or industry. Mainly, we depend on finding الموك-اب او البروكسي على طبيعه الاوكيوبيشن. فاذا كان الريال يوزر عندنا هو عباره عن for example information technology student or software engineering student, we'll try to find a proxy who has the same occupation, the same job, the same characteristics or features. Guideline number 4 اللي هي write user scenarios and use cases. Always the goal is to show knowledge and information to the user. We have to uncover knowledge. That's what we mean when we do analysis. Try how to find knowledge about the task, about the user itself. One way to express the activities اللي هو باستخدام السيناريوز. You can do one or more use case for each user or one or more scenario for each use case. Each scenario should describe what? How the program gets used, what tasks the user will need information about, and what manuals you need to write. These are the things we need to include it in each user scenario or usage scenario. Use cases can also be included in the documentation plan to state the types of activities that will be supported. لأنه كل use case هي عبارة عن task أو activity we can include in our document or in our manual. Guideline number 5, plan interview carefully. Interviews are the most important source of information for planning the document. So when we want to plan the document, the most valuable or most important source to gain information or to collect information is the interviews. Why? During the interviews, you encounter potential users. لأنه during the interview احنا دائما main contact or touch will be with the real user. We learn enough to design a document that satisfies their needs and their goals. We encourage them to learn with the program to useful. This slide brings general steps for interview planning. These steps include: first, do preliminary research into the user job and programs already in use. We need to know what kind of job that the user perform and what kind of program he is already using. Second thing, review the software program and identify the issues. What kind of complex issues need to be explained. نحاول نعرف ايش البروجرام اللي بيستعمله study اليوزر او اذا اليوزر use it. Second thing, ايش الissues that need to be explained. ايش complex task that they might need to be learned. Third thing, establish the scope of your interview. And when we say scope of interview means how many users or participants, who are the participants, the time needed for the review, and maximum will be 1 hour. 30 minutes is the best time. Fourth, make a list of interview questions. Prepare your questions. Five, get permission. When we say get permission, from whom we will get the permission. The permission can be get from the boss, user, manager, security people. Okay, because we have sometimes some issues related to the privacy, to the security, so we have to get a permission. Number six, set up an interview schedule. What's the date for the interview, the time needed, and what is the place. Seven, and the last thing is to plan a follow-up. After we finish the interview, we have to take the comments, try to benefit from them, and send thank you letter for the participant, do reviews, do testing, and so on. Interview, questionnaire, and observation. حكينا سابقا انه in order to gather information during an analysis we use some kind of methods. من هاي الميثودز اللي هي الانترفيوز، questionnaires, observation, and surveys. First thing, how to conduct an interview. What do we mean by interviews, or what we do during interviews? During interviews, we know the user and the program. We try to understand our user, their environment, ايش التاسك اللي بيقوم فيهم، ايش الاكتيفيتيز اللي بيستخدموهم, and their usage scenarios. In order to get benefit from the interview, we try to write and listen a lot. Try to listen to everything you hear from, like a participant. Try to read every comment or every criticism, and try also to collect samples of work you can use later in your manual. Any form, any template, any sample you find important in the environment or in the user workspace, try to collect it so you might use it later in your document. This is about interviews. The second thing is the whole observation, or how to observe. During observation, we face two kinds of distractions. دول distraction اللي هم getting too involved or getting not involved enough. What do we mean by each one? Getting too involved means do not tell them what you want, so you will not receive the benefit from the interview. In general, إذا أنا I told اليوزر عن الايدياز تبعوني, what I think about each task or what I think about a document, they will be convinced by my opinion, for example. فهذا بيأثر على information that I will get from them or البنفيت اللي أنا I will get from them, وهذا بيأثر على الكواليتي للdocument. The second thing اللي هو not getting involved enough. That means ask questions and do not be stranger. Try to reason an ideas. بعد ما حكينا عن two types of distractions that you need to avoid اللي هم getting too involved or not getting involved enough. What do we mean by observation? Observation means spend time in the workspace watching users perform their jobs. The third thing is a questionnaire. Questionnaires, they have the benefit that they allow you to gather information from variety of users, increase the chance of identifying unique concerns, identify wide patterns of use. What do we mean by this? Different than observation or interviews, you have limited number of participants. But with questionnaires, you can distribute it to hundreds and thousands of people. And you can gather information from variety of users. You are not limited to type one kind of people. فهذا بيعمل increase للchance طبيعة الconcerns أو طبيعة الissues that might be raised. لأنه for example for group A might be the issues that they will need to explain different than issues that need to be explained by group B and so on. وهذا بإيش بوزع أو بعدد إيش الباترنز أو scenarios that may need to be included. For best result, this questionnaire should be 1. Make use of an open-ended question. What we mean by open-ended question? Open-ended question means it's a type of question where you give the freedom for the user to write or explain or their ideas. Second thing, you have to put a clear instruction and plenty of room for filling responses. وهذا related للأول. The third one, try to avoid negatively worded questions. What do we mean by negatively worded questions? That means phrase questions affirmatively. For example, if you say you wouldn't want to read this guide, would you? Would you a negative question. This means give them an excuse to skip your question. Okay? Or for example, if you say if any, these kind of terms or this type of phrases we call them negatively worded question or negatively worded phrase. هذول اللي بيعطوا excuse للuser not to answer record. Guideline number 6, involve users in all phases of the project. A full user analysis should involve users in every stage of the documentation process, including writing, reviewing, and testing. This results in many benefits. So what kind of benefits we will gain if we include the user in all the project phases? First, increased accuracy. How user involvement increases accuracy? The users, they can find mistakes, confusion, and that will help to increase accuracy and avoid mistakes. Second thing, more appropriate information. The information that we will get from users, these are the best information that describe the workplace for the user. So this is the appropriate kind of information. So what we mean by appropriate information? Information that best describe the workplace. Number 3, increased usability. Comments, information that we get from a user during their involvement or during the project, this will give us feedback, comments that will help us to improve the design for our document and make it more valuable document or usable document. Improve relationships. This will help to cultivate a relationship between team members. Try to include them as much as you can. This will help to improve the quality of the documentation. Guideline number 7, identify document goals. With goals, people can stay on track and can get something to measure on. All human activities have goals. We all stay on goals. The clearer your objective or goals, the better the chance that you will achieve them. حاول دائما تعمل clear objective or clear goals, reasonable goals, لأنه كل ما كان goals more clear or more reasonable, you will have more chance to achieve them or to get them. Number 8 or guideline number 8, tie the user analysis to the documentation features. All the analysis we have done is without value unless we tie it with the documentation feature or the program feature. It's important that the features that you document are chosen based on specific user needs. وهذا الفوكس تبع التاسك orientation انه we always the features that we want to include in our document will be based على user task or user needs. By tailoring this information to specific users, a more usable document results. In these kind of documents, we will have, for example, sections for separate groups, scenarios included for different groups, special glossaries for individual groups. User analysis can help you in many ways. Uh, its first one, it helps us to identify what task the user need to perform with the software. بيساعدنا على انه نحدد ايش طبيعة التاسك اللي اليوزر رايح يقوم فيهم while they are using the software. Second thing, it will give us examples to use in tutorial. When we interact with the users, we collect or gather examples or samples from the workspace that will help us in our tutorial. Third one, organize and write your table of contents by providing a task-oriented sequence of proper procedures. One of the important features in any task-oriented document is the table of contents. In order to make a table of contents task oriented, you have to order it according to a sequence related to the use cases or how the user uses the software in general. The fourth thing, design the look of the manual. It will help us to design the look of the manual, enhance the page layout, what kind of graphics to use, design the graphics. All these things we can benefit from it or we can enhance it when we do a user analysis. Things you want to learn about your users. This slide and the next few slides present things you seek information about when you perform user analysis. بخلاصة راح يعرض لنا مجموعة من الأشياء اللي بنحاول نبحث عن معلومات عنهم لما بنعمل user analysis. The first thing, the task they perform. Mainly, we need to learn the activities associated with the user's work. We need to look for tasks unique to the user workplace, tasks that require more than one software program or information from data sources. Also, we need to look for tasks that require communication with other people. Second thing, the information they need. This means we need to find what information the user needs in order to support the tasks. Information direction. There are two directions, either horizontal or vertical. The horizontal information, those what we call shared information or tasks that support shared information, and vertical tasks that support management. Where does the information come from? How does the user communicate? You can distinguish communication needs from information needs by. There are two types of tasks, information tasks and communication tasks. Information tasks are tasks that require storage and sharing of work in progress, while communication tasks are tasks that require sharing of finished work. Number three, work motivation. According to the author of this book, what motivates user professionally will also motivate them to do well with the software. People like to think of themselves as important and goal-oriented users. Number four, computer experience. Users bring a wide range of computer experience to each new program and so require different levels of support. We have different levels, either novice users or novice experienced users, and expert users. The novice users typically experience anxiety with a new technology and is generally distressful with any new manual or any thing. The novice user would prefer to be told what key to press rather than self-exploration of the program. In general, النوفيس users بيحرصوا على انه او any piece of information بيسبب لهم anxiety or قلق ودائما بيفضلوا على انه you told them what to do rather than to try to explore it by themselves. Experienced users, they view software as a tool and have definite preferences as to how they want to learn new skills and program. The experienced user understand the value of manuals and use online help system more readily. Those type of experienced users, they know something about technology. بيحاولوا انهم يستغلوا او they prefer to use المانيوال and they know the value for the manuals and they use it usually. The third part or third type of users اللي هم expert users. Expert users often work in the software industry, so they are confident with technology and can troubleshoot effectively. So they don't need the manual all the time. Expert users learn new programs easily, but will consult manual or online help when they need it rarely. Now, what kind of things we need to know, or what kind of things make us judge what kind of experience that user have? These are the things that we can use. For example, the ability to transfer learning. How able they are to transfer anything they learn into their work professionally. Second thing, number of programs she worked on before one to many, degree of technical knowledge, learning behavior, easy for experts and difficult for novice, and attitude. This can reduce and computer anxiety. And we said usually a novice user they feel anxiety for any new piece of information. So users who once feared the intelligence of the computer begin to see it as a tool to help them reach their goals. Usually novice users has a negative attitude toward the new software because they do not see the value of using program to accomplish their work or their tasks. زي ما حكينا انه usually بالنسبه للاتيتيود النوفيس يوزرز بالنسبه لهم have negative attitude فاي new software they see it as negative thing and they don't see the value for this software or this new technology. Number 5, knowledge of the subject. That means we want to know their ability to see the relationship between the program and the work they perform. This can affect the amount of information you need to supply in your program. For example, if the user lacks a background of the subject, you expect limited use of the program. In general بنحكي انه كل ما زادت knowledge عند users about the program that we are trying to document or create the document for, كل ما قل detailed information or information that they need to be supported in order to learn about the program. For example, if we have a tax program, we are expecting an accountant would probably need less background information than the people who are using the program for the first time. Number 6, workplace environment or group environment. People usually rely on their own colleagues and information staff more than manuals. This is what we call a user community. So during the user analysis, we should investigate two things. First, the user groups that your user already participate in. ايش طبيعة الجروبs that they are participated in. وthese days من user groups أو communities مثل الهيلب forums, special interest groups, news groups, user groups, and the web resources. Also, the second thing that we want to investigate, your users' willingness to join groups for manual support or for mutual support. Number 7, learning preferences. This means how does your user prefer to develop expertise with the new software. Generally, a user will learn with the help of an instructor, a manual, or through computer. With instructors, we require settings, source, variations such as tutorials, user guides or references, and media, the book. This kind of like a learning preference allow you the ability of asking a question. Novice people or novice users usually like it. Manuals Tutorials contain lessons, avoid making any embarrassing errors, and often manual isolate users from expert help. This is preferred by experienced and expert users. Number three, computer-based tutorials. All types of users, but novice users learn less from it. Number eight, usage pattern. Usage pattern refers to the interaction of users with programs over time. We either use it regularly, intermittent, or casually. Regularly means daily, and we perform incremental learning. Frequent intermittent means frequently and voluntarily. Learn and forgotten require online help. And casual, little of no formal training, library searches, searches for information in encyclopedia. In order to get the benefit from your user analysis and to gather good quality information, take a constructive attitude. People often see editors as a grammar police. Tell someone you work as an editor and see how long it takes them to make a joke about watching their language. That means make them feel that you are their partner. Seeing yourself as a partner with the writer can take you a long way toward having a satisfying experience as an editor. That means try to make them feel that you are their partner and you are benefiting from the information that you gather from them, and not only you benefit, they also can benefit from the document and the comment that they gather. Second thing, consult standard style guide. When controversies occur, you need to consult a general style guide, in-house style guide, or specialized reference works is necessary.